Welcome again to the Yoga with Amy channel. My name is Amy, and as you might have guessed, I'm a yoga teacher. So I thought that today would be a really good chance to tell you a little bit about what yoga equipment you might need at home, given that most of us are still kind of experiencing this lockdown thing. A lot of people haven't yet gone back to their gyms or their yoga studios, or perhaps their gyms and yoga studios have decided not to open, or they might just not be offering as many classes. So we might be wanting to bring our practice home. And one of the kind of key things I learned when I was doing my yoga teaching course was that as a yoga teacher, you are trying to help your students to develop their home practice. That's one of the main things. It's not just about asking people to come to the class and then that's just it. It's about giving them the tools so they can go home and do their practice at home. So without further ado, I thought I would talk a little bit about what you do need and what you don't need. I've built up a couple of bits of equipment over the past few years, as you can see here. So I thought I would just start by talking about the plain and simple things. The first one being the yoga mat. So I would say that if you're going to do your yoga practice at home, then get yourself a yoga mat. And I'm not going to say invest in a decent one. All I would say is that it needs to be long enough for your body and to suit your style of yoga. So if you find, as some people do, I will show you mine first. So also, I'm a bit of a cyclist, so I bought this bag to sometimes carry the yoga mat on my back, and sometimes I'd be cycling to and from yoga in the rain. You don't need a bag for your yoga mat if you're just popping from the car, to your yoga class in a normal kind of situation. So don't buy a yoga bag unless you need one, yoga mat bag. So we'll put that over here. So this is my normal yoga mat, the one that you see in my videos. It is getting a little bit old now and it's not particularly sticky. I find this one fine for my hands. I can kind of go into down dog and those kind of things where you're putting pressure into your hands. I can do that okay on this yoga mat. Some people prefer a little bit more sticky one like this one, which is really good at kind of holding your hands here. And I have seen, and there was a big phase of it, I don't know, maybe it's still happening, this phase of people investing in those really super duper kind of super duper sticky ones with like the lines on the mat, and then they look really fancy, and I think they'll set you back maybe 90 or £100. You can go down that route if you've not found a yoga mat to suit you, but what I would say is, especially if you're new to practicing yoga at home, then go and get yourself just a regular sticky yoga mat, maybe sort of £20, and see how that does for you. And if you really don't get on with it, then you can maybe think about investing in a sort of more expensive yoga mat. So that was my first top tip. Just kind of get a mat that suits you, and don't be necessarily fooled or tempted by these super duper amazing mats. That was what I wanted to say. Another really, really great item to have at home is your bolster. You might see these in your yoga class. This one has got buckwheat in it, so it's kind of like a bit like a big bean bag. And I've had this for a couple of years now. It's really good. I use it to kneel on, which I'm going to do now, because if you're at home and you're doing lots of kneeling things, even just to meditate, so you might not want to sit cross-legged. I certainly find that sitting cross-legged for a long period of time really doesn't do great things to my knees and my back, so sometimes I prefer to just kneel on a bolster, and this is great for that. And you can also use it in Shavasana underneath your legs for a nice relaxing pose, and you can use it in different positions, sort of down dog. You might want to rest your head on it, or child's pose, or all those kind of poses. So your bolster can be a really good investment, would recommend. And recently, obviously having a burn in the oven, I kind of wanted a few more options for fully relaxing at home. If you've ever been to a restorative yoga class, you'll know that they use about 10 bolsters per person, about 10 blankets, an eye bag, something to kind of hold your hands as your hands are resting on the mat, straps, all sorts of things. And they're definitely a little bit, well, the ones that I've been to are definitely more into these kind of bolsters, which are just like a polyester thingamajig inside, and it just makes it kind of like a hard pillow. That's sort of how it feels. And I invested in this only like a month or two ago, because it means that I can now lie down on it, and it's quite, it sort of takes my body weight on it. As a pregnant person, you shouldn't really lie down flat on your back. So I can prop this up with some blocks, which we'll talk about in a minute. And then I can lie down at a kind of 45-degree angle. I can have a little pillow under my head. And obviously, unlike the buckwheat bolster, it doesn't sort of flop in the middle. So it's really good at supporting your body, this bolster. Before I say anything else, and before I start yabbering on about all the equipment I've got, I would just say think about what your home practice is like. If it's really energetic and you're just doing lots of sun salutations and that's the way you like it, and you're not doing so much of the kind of relaxation, the meditation, then really think about what equipment you need. If you know you're going to buy a bolster and you're never going to use it, then don't buy it. Or even just kind of notice how much you're using it in class and if you find it really useful, because I know that lots of studios use the bolsters, and then that might be a reason to get it if you know you're going to be doing those postures at home. So another great one, and this is something that I've asked all my students to get, they're only about £5, and it's a yoga strap. The reason that yoga straps are particularly good is because they come with this little thing called a D-ring, and it means that you can thread your strap into it and you can practice all sorts of things. I will put a link up here to a video that I've got about how to use a strap, because there's loads of things you can do. If you're working on your shoulders, that's a bit long, but you can have your strap to kind of hold your shoulders. You can use it obviously for stretching your hamstrings, so wrapping it around your foot and then kind of stretching your hamstrings like this. But it's just really useful in class, and you can actually do loads of stuff with them. Check out other people's YouTube videos about using a strap as well, because it can really help you to advance your practice and kind of give you some feedback on different postures depending on how you use your strap. So I like to use it in my classes, definitely, and I would say that if you're practicing yoga at home and you want to get really deep into some different postures and kind of experience them in a different way, then I'd say that a strap is a good buddy and only like a £5. So I would say go for it. And then what I'm going to talk about is some extra items. So I'd say that the ones that I've spoken about are your core items. These blocks and these blocks kind of go into your core ? Items list, because I think that having blocks, and this is what I've offered to my yoga students, it depends where you're at with your practice. So it's kind of like the strap where it can help you to get into the postures a bit more. If you're practicing triangle, for example, and I might get my cameraman to move a little bit now. Sorry, I didn't expect to stand up, but if you're in triangle and you find that you get really kind of shaky and you can't support your body weight when you're kind of practicing like this, then having a block there can be really useful. Or even if you're just going into your forward fold, having your blocks here or moving through your sun salutation like this can just be a really nice way to start to stretch into the hamstrings. So I use them all the time because I know that with my students, they can get a lot more out of the postures by using the blocks. And the same with the kind of flat ones. Actually, these ones are bricks and these ones are blocks. Yeah, that's right. I always get those confused. Anyway, with the blocks, you can use these under your bum for the seated postures, which I think I'm going to be doing a lot more of with my class quite soon. And rather than sitting down on the ground with your bum on the floor, this just helps you to lift up, and it's so much easier for my back to get a nice tall posture here. And you can also use them when you're in your meditation. So they could support your knees when you're in a meditative legs crossed posture. If you're like me, sitting with your legs crossed, just flat on the floor with no support, doesn't really go down well in terms of my body and my knees, and I can't stay there very long. What they say is you should always be able to lift up and out of the spine when you're sat down to meditate, because it shouldn't feel like an effort. The idea of meditation is to go into your mind, so your body shouldn't be screaming at you saying, ow, 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 this hurts, this hurts. So you need to find that really comfortable posture in order to go inside and meditate. So these can be good at sort of supporting your knees, and just basically in any posture you can stick a block in there if you're finding it a struggle, and it can really help you to properly lift up and lift into the postures. So yeah, they're kind of like, you could get some blocks if you might benefit from them. Okay, now I'm going to talk about the lovely things that you could get if you wanted to, but I would again just say, think about your own home practice. Think about what you're already doing at home and whether you really need these, or whether it really will enhance your yoga practice, whether you really will get more out of it. So I've recently been kind of talking about eye pillows with my own class, because I think especially when you're at home, and if you're following along with like a Zoom yoga class and you come to the end of the class and the teacher says goodbye, sometimes they give you that extra time to relax in Shavasana after the class has finished. And obviously if you're in your own home, there's nowhere more comfy than your own home to chill out and relax. So these eye pillows are really good. You obviously pop them on your eye without the glasses on. And then when you're lying down, the wheat that's inside these eye bags just kind of sink down and rest into the eye socket. So it's like somebody's just very gently kind of pressing onto your eyelids, and it just feels really nice and relaxing. I use these as much as I can when I'm doing like a relaxation, having a relaxation time. So whatever I'm doing in Shavasana, or if I'm listening to like relaxation tapes or something, then these are just so lovely. And I'm sure that you can do loads with them, such as have a nice little pamper evening, maybe with your mum, your sister, whoever. Get someone to wear one of these, the other person does a hand massage, and yeah, just make a lovely evening of it. And they're so good, they block out all the light and they smell really nice as well. So yeah, eye pillow is an extra luxury item. This blanket, it's a proper yoga blanket, which means that they're just a bit more structured than your average kind of blanket that you might have at home, which means that you can use them in the same way you can use a block, by putting it under your bum when you're sitting down, and it will just help to lift you up, and it's not too kind of cushiony, so it does give you that lift and that structure. But also these are really good just to drape over you in Shavasana and help you kind of go into that cozy little cocoon, and I really like it. But again, it's whether you do have stuff at home that you can kind of use as a, well, obviously everybody's got blankets at home, so whether you can just use those anyway. I invested in this just because I wanted to kind of get more into that restorative side of yoga. With being pregnant, I just kind of wanted to experiment a bit more with props and just make sure I've got something for each part of my body to prop me up. So make sure my back's supported, make sure my head's supported in these different relaxation postures. So yeah, I think a blanket is a good one, but it's a luxury item, so you don't necessarily need to run out and buy it straight away. And then I'm going to talk about my ball, because I've been doing lots of exercises. If you've seen my recent video about keeping fit and healthy during pregnancy, a ball is almost completely necessary if you're pregnant. But as well, I think if you're doing anything at home and you're following along with classes, and you're either on Zoom or you're watching videos on YouTube or wherever else you're watching them, and sometimes it's difficult to get up and down off the floor, you can definitely pop a ball in here, or if you've got a chair, sit on a chair to do some of the postures. I think there is a misconception that yoga is for flexible people, and for strong flexible people who can get up and down really quickly. It's definitely not. It's for everyone, and you just need to find the right things that are going to help you to adapt your practice. So by all means, try loads of amazing, crazy yoga videos, but maybe just try popping a chair, a ball, a block, a bolster in there to just really help you get into the postures a bit more. And I've pretty much cleared my yoga equipment stand now, and that's all I really wanted to say, is that these are the items that I found really useful in my home practice. But we're thinking about the planet, thinking about the environment, so really just start to practice at home if you're not already. See how that goes, see what you might be missing in terms of props, and then have a go. Maybe watch some videos first. Maybe before you buy a strap, you use a tie or something off your robe at home. Before you buy the bolster, maybe use a few cushions and just see if that feels good, and then you can kind of say, right, I think I will get a lot of good use out of this prop that I'm going to buy. And then a tiny little note on eco stuff is that there are lots of groups you can join online where people are selling their secondhand yoga things, and especially at the moment where I guess yoga studios are kind of, some of them, they don't know if they're going to be able to come back, and they might be selling quite a lot of bits and bobs off in your area. So check out some secondhand sites. I really like Yoga Matters as well for new yoga equipment. They're really well priced. So that's kind of where I get my stuff from. That's how I've adapted my home practice for the past few months, not being able to get out and about, and also being pregnant as well, having to invest in a few more items that make me feel nice and cozy and nice and chilled. And it'd be great to hear what you use in your home practice already. And if you've got any questions about have I tried this prop or that prop, then please just let me know in the comments. But it's lovely to chat to you again, and I really hope you come back soon for more Yoga with Amy.